You probably heard people say things like, oh, my favorite handgun of all time, absolutely my best, I love that handgun, absolutely the best out of the best, I love it, is Beretta 92 FS or HK VP9 or Steyr whatever, I forgot the models, M9, something like that. My personal favorite, absolutely best favorite gun of all time, probably, I would say, is a 1911. Because it is as American as it can get. The history of 1911 is just absolutely mind-blowing. I actually made a video on history of 1911. It's called Amazing History of 1911. Check it out. I'm not saying I did a great job with the video, but I did it with as much passion as I had to a 1911 pistol. And I kind of tried to put it into that video. Just it's not as, you know, I'm not as skilled with making fancy videos, fancy effects and all that sort of stuff. So I probably could have done a better job on that, but just the presentation of it. And I love it. I love that pistol. But just like all these people that will tell you Beretta 92 FS, HK, whatever, or me saying 1911 is my favorite pistol, at the end of the day, if these people are more familiar with the world of firearms, let's just put it that way, more familiar meaning that they were either in combat, they were in service, they were in experience, maybe they're in firearms industry, they are carrying a gun, maybe they're working with a gun on them every single day, like in service or being like a security officer or something. They will tell you that in the end of the day, all these guns, they're their favorite, but they would buy a Glock. They would buy a Glock in order, if this was their last gun that they needed on them, and was the only gun, it would be Glock. They have that 92 Beretta FS in their safe. 1911, I have the 1911. I love them. I enjoy shooting, just going to the range and shooting. But my sidearm will always be Glock. And some people swear by and love 40 Smith & Wesson. I personally would always go with a 9mm. But both of us would say it would be in a Glock. It would not be anything else. And this video wanted to try and summarize, come up to a conclusion. Why? So that people really do understand. Because I did not understand. I did not understand that. I've seen that unhealthy obsession with the Glock, and it almost pissed me off. I was like, why? What is this? What is this? Like, seriously. I mean, the grip is fine, the slide is kind of square and big and bulky. It looks so unattractive, ununique. It looks so basic. I mean, as generic, as basic as the gun can look. Literally nothing, absolutely nothing is attractive or appealing visually about this gun. The trigger is not great. It's okay, but it's not great. The sights, I mean, have you seen these? Like, what the hell is this crap at the back? It's absolutely terrible. You know, when I started shooting Glocks, I was horrible. And you know why? Because every freaking single different person out there on the freaking planet, whoever shot a Glock, told me all these freaking different versions of how the sights are supposed to align. Okay? I literally had to do research on it, and literally every source had a different opinion on it. So some people said that the front white dot is supposed to sit right on the white dot, not the white dot, the white bar. Come on, camera, you can focus. Can you focus? Doesn't want to. Oh, at the back, at the rear, right? Some people would say no, it has to be just sitting up above the black on the back, right above the white one. All right, now it focus. Great. So I was trying all of these different ways, and obviously it's really hard to tell when you don't know. When you, okay, so yes, maybe you had your eyes on sights the way you wanted them and on target, but when you press the trigger you dipped a little bit and it goes a little bit down, right? So you don't know. Finally I figured it out. If you are interested, you just align the posts, the height of the posts, and that's it. And probably in the comments somebody will say, nope, that's not the way to do it. There's a completely different way you have to do it, which is completely fine, I guess, if that works for you. But posts, aligning the post, screw the white dot, screw the white bar, align the posts, middle, windage, elevation, go. Alright? That's it. So, why then? Seriously, like, this is generation 5. And probably in a year or two we're gonna see generation 6. Which, maybe I'll say a few words on generation 6 in the end of the video, because since we're talking about the Glock. But generation 1 pretty much looks exactly the same, generation 2 pretty much exactly the same, generation 3, generation 4, generation 5, literally. The only things that change, some freaking finger grooves, some internal little things, the spring is a little bit tighter, because now we have check this out, we have some upgrade on the guide rod in the generation 5 and generation 4 compared to generation 3, I think. That's when they made the biggest upgrade to the guide rod assembly. Anyway, this is really not important. This is just the visual. Why with all of these trigger not happy, sights not really happy, all of these little nah, could have been better, why people still freaking buying these guns? Because price-wise, Glocks, they never really were cheap per se. I mean, they're compared to like a Beretta 92 FS or a fancy 1911. Of course, this is gonna be much cheaper, much more affordable version. But that's still not the reason. That's still not the reason why people would swear by them, carry them over anything else that they love with passion and with heart, right? They would look at something that has soul, a 1911, compared to completely just literally a tool, just a tool. Why? Well, because this really is a tool, and that's it. And at the end of the day, if you think about this, if you think about real combat, you are really in the field and you are surviving, you are fighting, you don't really need a soul in your back pocket, right? You don't need passion or whatever. You need a tool that is going to do its job. Not throw a hissy fit because it's built too tight, and it's so tight that a little bit less powder, a little bit less primer in that round, oops, and now we have a problem. It's too tight compared to this freaking thing that is as loose as as it can get, right? And no, you're not going to have that 1.5 inch group on 50 yards or 100 yards or whatever. But who the hell freaking cares about the 1.5 freaking inch group in a combat situation? You can have a freaking 5-inch group as long as you can hit the target. Now that's really all that matters. You need a tool that is going to do its job. And this is exactly that. As reliable as it can get. As a tool of a tool, the sharpest tool in the shed, alright? As really it can get. And that's why people get it. That's why people trust it. That's why the most reviewed brand on my channel currently is a Glock. And of all the Glocks that I reviewed, there was only one Glock that gave me a problem, and it was consistent. It was the same exact thing that was happening, and we ended up sending it back to the factory, and it ended up being a factory problem, which I absolutely destroyed Glock as much as I could in my video about it. Because it's terrible, it's unacceptable, there should not be from the factory defect coming. But nevertheless, if you think about the difference between something that came from a factory that you're shooting every round and it's crap, you send it back and say, hey, what the hell, man? And then they send you a gun and that's it, you're good. Compared to something you receive from the factory, you shoot 20 rounds, 50 rounds, and it's fine. And God forbid something bad happens, and now there's a situation where you have to use it, bam, 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 and oh wow, all of a sudden, a jam. Or maybe just on the range, after 100 rounds, round 101, oops, jam. Huh, what happened? Failure to eject. Little thing, not a big deal. But something like this, in a survival important situation, a combat situation, can cost you your life. And people who get these guns, they understand that I just can't take that risk. I cannot take the chance. I need something that is absolutely 100% is going to do its job. And this is it. This is really it. But there's another thing. Another really cool thing about Glock. And this is more of the first reason. It was more for the brain, for the logic, for whatever. This second reason is more for the soul. Okay? It's more for your passion now. And I hope you like it, because I do. It's that you're getting this tool, right? You get it, you buy it, it's now your tool. It works, it is loyal, it's just there for you anytime you need it. You don't love it, you don't even name it. It's just a tool in the shed. But you know it's loyal. You know it's there. You know it. It's sitting there, patiently waiting for you to pick it up, thinking, give me some love, give me some attention. I am that tool. And then you shoot it on the range. It's there. All of this you go through. Some time passes, right? And then you realize that all of these little things that you didn't like, you can change them. You can upgrade them. You can make it better. You can customize it a little bit here, a little bit there, to make it more like you. To make it more to where now this little tool that was always there for you, that was loyal, that loved you and you didn't love, now you're starting to appreciate all that loyalty that was always there. And you start to put that into and give back to this loyal friend of yours that was always there for you. And you failed. You failed to appreciate him, her, whatever gender you put on your gun, alright? It was always there for you. Now, all of these little complaints that you had, now you can invest into changing them up. You know, the sights, stock. Nah, I don't like it. It's not silencer ready. It's not night sights. It's not normal 3-dot sight. It's not fiber optic just like I like. It doesn't have a little bit of contrast between the two, between the rear side and the front side. So whenever you're aligning, it kind of blurs into one. That's my personal preference. And that's my little complaints about these sides. But guess what? Guess what? Guess what? You can get anything you want. Because somehow, this tool right here is the most customizable, the most customizably friendly guns that are out there. There is more parts to this gun than pretty much anything else out there for anything else combined whenever it comes to accessories and options of what you can do. Different types of stippling, different barrels, threaded barrels, unthreaded barrels, freaking rainbow looking freaking weird barrels, ported barrels, slide work. I mean, there is no slide work on this one. This is still, I'm still waiting for another gun to show up in order so that I can send this slide to do some cutouts, to make it lighter, to make it way more appealing. I mean, if you want to check out my Threshold Glock 17 review, check it out. Valentine Arms, check it out. It looks freaking amazing, okay? And I didn't even care about making it look good. I cared about functionality and really being combat friendly and being a good hybrid between the two, between being the combat friendly and also the accuracy competition friendly. Okay, so all of a sudden you're starting to put in the hours of work, money, a lot of money. Some of the parts are pretty expensive, like just one barrel is probably like $200 you're gonna spend if you want a threaded barrel, if you want, you know, a good quality match grade barrel, like for example this one from Rival Arms. Great, fantastic quality barrel. An unbelievable upgrade compared to the standard one. All right, or for example, just this freaking slide release, right? Unbelievable freaking upgrade compared to the stupid tiny little freaking thing that they put on a stock one. Like, look, even my short fingers, just fantastic. It's just fantastic. But this little freaking piece is like 50-60 bucks from, what is it, Cagworks, something like that. That's what they're called, I think. But 50 bucks, well spent. Just a magwell, like $100 from Terran Tactical. But again, it's money. You spend this money, but now all of a sudden your mag switch becomes so much faster, and you're like, wow, this thing was so loyal to me, and now I'm giving it back, and now it's giving me back double. But not just double, it gives you back even more, because it continues, which is crazy. It continues to be loyal and reliable. Think about pretty much everything else that is out there. If you mess with most of the stuff, if you mess with a tiny little something, just like for example 1911, I've seen on 1911s people cut out a little bit of the front guard and on the frame, and now it becomes lighter, so now you have more kick, and because of the recoil, because of additional recoil, you have a little bit too much of the recoil because the front is now lighter, and now your round is not feeding properly. I mean, how freaking stupid, right? You take a Glock and you cut out freaking half of the weight of the slide, and you shoot a lighter round, which apparently mine, some of the reviews that I make, lighter 9mm round gives problem on the ejection on some of the handguns that I reviewed recently, but never on a Glock, never on a Glock. And even if you don't maintain it properly, it still remains reliable and loyal to you. And once you start upgrading, all of a sudden this tool that had absolutely nothing, no passion, no any kind of attraction to it, all of a sudden it becomes the work of art, but not just work of art, a practical, functional tool that you'll know. And most of the people, if they are actually doing the upgrade, if they're upgrading their Glocks, they're doing it themselves. They're putting the mag wells themselves, they're putting mag extensions themselves, triggers, polishing triggers, replacing certain parts, barrels. They're, for the most part, they're doing it themselves. With sights, most of the times, if you guys are interested, the sights, you can do it yourself too if you invest into something like this. I'll put a link actually in the description below because it works very, very well, and you can get it on Amazon. It makes it so easy to replace the rear sight, and it's literally just for rear sight, or not just for Glock, but it works. I got it specifically for the Glocks, and it just works excellent. And my freaking camera overheated. So now all of a sudden your tool becomes the extension of yourself. It becomes not just the muse, the beautiful model on the poster like a 1911 or Beretta 92 FS. No, it becomes the extension of you.